Welcome to the first video of our One Piece anime guide series where I cover information regarding One Piece anime fillers, helping you either skip them or learn more about them without wasting a lot of your time. I'm Divins from Oro Jackson, and today I'll be speaking about the first filler in the One Piece anime, the Log Town filler episodes, which are episodes 50 and 51. First and foremost, I'll be summarizing the filler episodes. For those of you who do not wish to watch the whole filler at the same time, don't want to miss out on anything interesting. After that, I'll be giving you my verdict on these fillers, as in, are they entertaining and fun to watch, what can you expect from it, and information that you would like to know before actually watching the fillers and ending up wasting your time. So let's begin with the summary of these filler episodes. Episode 50, titled Usopp vs Daddy the Father, Showdown at High Noon. As you can expect, mainly it focuses on Usopp and his adventures in Log Town. We begin with the introduction of a really badass ex-marine sharpshooter turned bounty hunter, Daddy Masterson, often referred to as Daddy or Daddy the Father. Whoever came up with the name must have thought it's great. Well, I don't share the same opinion. Anyway, he makes a living by, as we all can guess, defeating pirates who land in Log Town and collecting their bounties. Although, he always targets the ones with lesser bounties who wouldn't give him much trouble and in turn wouldn't be a threat to his own life so that he can continue living together with his daughter. Usopp gets unlucky. His shopping trip for a goggles turns for the worst when he comes across Daddy the Father's daughter, who purchases the single goggle piece he wanted. His lies then get him into even deeper trouble when Daddy the Father challenges him, a member of the Straw Hat Pirate whose captain is presumed to be a monster with a bounty of 30 million belly, to a duel, where Usopp suffers a humiliating defeat. But it doesn't end there. After learning that Yasopp is Usopp's father, Daddy recalls the reason why he left the Marines, and that's because Yasopp defeated and nearly killed him in a duel. Yasopp left Daddy alive for the sake of his daughter. Usopp, encouraged by his father's courage and actions, accepts a new duel, where he has to shoot an object which is quite far. If he fails, he gets a bullet straight through his head. But he doesn't fail and lives up to his expectations as a sharpshooter. He hits his target clean. Daddy the Father is impressed by Usopp's skill and encourages him to keep up his courage, and he'd soon be like his father one day. Daddy's daughter also gives Usopp the goggles he wanted, after which they all live happily ever after, and we never hear about Daddy the Father or his daughter ever again. The second filler episode, number 51, titled A Burning Culinary Battle, Sanji vs the Gorgeous Chef, revolves around Sanji's adventures on Log Town. He comes across a beautiful chef, Carmen, who challenges him to a culinary battle, which Sanji declines at first, but while visiting the local fish market, he learns that the rare and exquisite blue-finned elephant tuna, a fish from the South Blue, is the prize of the culinary battle. He then enters the battle to win it. Sanji's goal is not only to win the blue-finned elephant tuna, but he also enters the battle as he believes the fish is from All Blue, and he wants to get his hand on it since his dream is to find the All Blue. As several phases of the battle pass, many cooks participating are eliminated, and the two finalists are Sanji and Carmen. And in the final, Sanji defeats Carmen easily, and at the end Carmen reveals that she had seen Sanji announce his dream of finding All Blue as a child on the ship he used to work on, and ever since he hasn't changed and has the same goal. Speak about a stalker. As we near the end, Sanji groups up with Nami and Usopp, who were watching the culinary battle, and begin to head back towards the ship. Nami announces that there's a storm coming, and they should get back to the ship as soon as possible. Meanwhile, elsewhere in Log Town, a gust of wind takes away Luffy's hat and leads him to the place where he has been trying to reach for so long, the location where the Pirate King Gold Roger was executed. Buggy's men as well as Marines spot Luffy and head towards the same location. So what do I think about these fillers? Well, these episodes do not contain any content that is canon. They can be skipped if you wish to skip them, but I'd say they are mildly entertaining. I mean, you aren't going to get bored watching them. At the same time, you aren't going to be head over heels and enjoy it a lot. If you don't mind spending the time watching 2 extra episodes, go ahead and watch these. I specifically liked episode 52 more than 51, but that's just my personal choice. I hope this video was informative and helps you, the viewer, skip or learn more about the fillers Don't forget to check out our forum where we have the whole guide posted. The link will be available in the video description. Goodbye and smooth sailing!